The reason a lot of your prospects will say the right things and still not buy is not because they're not motivated enough. It's because of their beliefs and their standards. There's a really good saying by a gentleman named James Clear that we will not rise to our goals, but we will fall to the level of our standards. And that's exactly what's happening on your calls, where they're saying the right things, they're asking why now, they're answering your questions, they're giving you the pain, but yet at the end, when it's time to change, when it's time to make a decision, they choose to stay the exact same. And the cool thing about behavior patterns is most of them are subconscious. So your prospects will be telling on themselves. They will tell you about their behavior patterns, their standards and beliefs without even realizing it. And they're saying it with their guard down, which is really good for you. And so that's exactly what we're going to talk about in today's video. I'm going to arm you with the ability to be able to listen to some of the biggest behavior patterns that keep people stuck, how to rip that way of decision making away from them because it's not serving them. And then I'm going to show you exactly how to do it on a live call. We got 3 live calls lined up for you today, so I got a real fucking banger. And all of it is with the real prospects, none of that fake role play shit that your favorite guru likes to do. So welcome back to the channel, but if you're new here and you're wondering who is this young man with dreads and tattoos yelling at the camera and what does he know about sales, my name's Nick. I've been in high ticket sales for close to 3 years. I've collected $3 million in cash, and I've helped countless others do the same, like Alex hitting 10K a month as a setter, making more than some of the closers on his team. We got Chris being the top closer on his offer, brand new into sales, 4 months in. That's his second month being the top offer. We got D'Aven hitting 25K days. We got Colton being the top guy with the least amount of calls taken. I can fucking go on. It's not because they got some silver bullet. It's because they are learning and understanding human behavior, and they are starting to master these behavior patterns that we're talking about today. So the goal of today's video is for you to get the exact same thing. So let's dive in. Before we dive in, if you want to be one of those people that I showed and you're actively selling on an offer, you know that there's money being left on the table, hit the link below, apply it for one-on-one coaching. I still have a few slots left for the rest of the month. Let's dive in. So the first one is I don't know where to start. A lot of your prospects will say shit like this when you're asking them why they haven't done anything or what steps they've taken. They'll say, I don't know where to start. Now you need to understand that the fundamental behavior pattern that is broken here is that they think that they need to know everything there is to start. And obviously that could be trouble for the sale. This is simply justification for doing absolutely nothing towards their goal. And they continue telling themselves this story because it sounds logical. And the problem here is that they've used this justification to continue to allow the problem that they're in to suffer because they're hoping that some magic silver bullet is just going to fall into their fucking lap. And obviously that's not true. The reality is they need to grab their situation by the balls and actually be proactive in changing it. And that's what they need to understand. It's like a fucking fat person saying that the reason I'm 300 pounds is because I didn't know what workouts to do. And the reality is they all fucking work. Keto diet works, balanced diet, carnivore, they all work. All exercises work if you do them properly. Like everything works, you just need to do something. And so I don't know where to start is not a valid reason to do nothing. You need to completely rip away this way of thinking. Otherwise, these are the same people who need 100% certainty before taking any kind of action. And we know that's not possible. These are the same kind of people who are going to want to talk to someone in your program. These are the same people who are going to want to see more testimonials. All this shit, they're going to want to know every little thing there is to know about the mechanism that you're selling. If it's BizOp, if you're selling lead gen. And so we need to take this away from them. So let's watch how to do that on a live call.
So, like in that 5 years, besides therapy, what steps would you say you've taken towards getting more of that like advanced support and coaching so that you can be able to knock these charts out quicker and like actually have that life, have life?
This lady has been struggling with charts for 5 fucking years. She hasn't been able to be present with her family. She hasn't been able to do the things that she likes to do for 5 years. Let's keep going.
Um, I really haven't taken any other steps with that specifically.
Okay, what do you think's prevented you?
I think knowing where to go and what would help.
Okay.
And so now we know that this is a broken way of thinking. This is a broken belief system that for 5 years she's continued to let this problem pester, has done absolutely nothing about it because she didn't know where to go. Let's keep going.
Okay. Um, okay. So like I said, we're gonna have some light bulbs here,
If I ever say we're gonna have some light bulbs, just know we're about to cook. Let's keep going.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's always interesting, like not knowing where to start,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because like if we just like change this environment and let's talk about like weight loss. A
Mm-hmm.
300-pound person, they're not overweight because they don't know what workouts to do,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know what diet to follow. Right? Because at the end of the day, it's out there. They just need to pick one and do it. But the real problem isn't not knowing where to start. It's not being proactive enough. You see what I'm saying? And so when we look at your situation, is it fair to say that we haven't been as proactive as we can towards solving this?
Boom. What are we going to do? What did we just do there? We, first of all, told her we're going to have some light bulbs. This is my way of starting to open her up to seeing a different way of thinking. I gave her an analogy that pretty much anyone can understand of weight loss, of exactly what I just said in this video. I ended off by saying that the fat person hasn't been proactive. Is it fair to say you haven't been proactive? Right? I just did a lot of talking there. Now I need her to justify it. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
What makes that fair to say in your mind?
What makes that fair? She needs to justify it. If it's coming from me, it means nothing. If it's coming from her, it means everything. Let's keep going.
Because I spend more time being reactive than stopping and trying to get ahead, and because I feel like, well, once I get caught up, then I can find a way to try to not go back. But then you get caught up and you get a little break and you're like, okay, I'm going to fall back in the same pattern.
Yeah, like once I lose weight, I'll go to the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
Something.
There's a little
Like I know I'm pushing you here, but it's in your best interest. I'm gonna say another tough one. Are you ready? That is also what's gonna keep you stuck.
Woo! That's what's going to keep you stuck. We're starting to rip away this way of thinking, right? Of, I don't know where to start. Let's keep going.
Yep.
Right? Because the best workouts or the best charting systems and efficiency, they don't mean much if you're not proactive about it, if you're not grabbing the bull by the horn.
I want you to pay attention to my energy and my tone too, because I'm saying very direct shit to her, right? I'm calling her out, I'm challenging her, but my tone is very inviting and welcoming. I'm not saying that with an abrasive tone because then she's gonna shut down. That's the thing about communication, right? You have your body language, your tone, and then the words. And so you have to be able to play with each of them. If you're saying aggressive things with your words, then your body language and your tone need to be less aggressive. Like if I was saying this fucking barking at her and my body language is very colorful, well, she would not be receptive to it. She'd be like, what the fuck does this asshole think he knows? Right? Pay close attention to that.
And doing something. And so even if we take procrastination, I mean perfectionism out of it, right? This goes back to the procrastinating. Like that piece. Are you ready to actually be proactive and like taking the necessary steps so that we don't continue having this kind of career and can eventually have a family?
Yes.
Accountable to that? Yeah.
Are you willing to let go of this way of thinking? Yes. Can I keep you accountable to that? Yes. And you can hear it in her tone too, that she is really feeling that shit. And she's not just saying it because it fits the conversation, right? This is the last thing I'm gonna play.
Yeah. Because I'd hate to see you be in your own way, basically, right? Continue to stay stuck, right?
I would hate to see you be in your own way and continue to be stuck. Now, there's no way she can give me that way of thinking, even if she doesn't directly say it at the end. If she has uncertainty and gives me some type of a, let's say like a think about it objection or some type of an objection to delay action, I now have taken that way of thinking away from her. And so I have a lot more leverage to bring this fucking 3-minute conversation back up at the end because that's what we're looking to get away from. Let's dive into the next one. So now you understand how the behavior pattern of saying things like, I don't know where to start, is keeping a prospect stuck and how to get them out of it. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is laughing during pain. The broken behavior pattern here, and what's the deep thing behind this is they are avoiding reality. That's why they're laughing. I know you've had those prospects who will give you all the pain in the world, who will say everything's falling apart, or even if it's like not all the pain in the world, they'll give you something that's not going right, and then they'll fucking laugh like shit is sweet. They're not spending time with their kids, they're not making the money they desire, and then they laugh. What the fuck is funny about that? Nothing. This is a coping mechanism to not feel what they need to feel. And they've been doing this for years, and that is why the problem is not solved. And if they continue to tell themselves by laughing that shit is not as bad as it is, when they continue to bring their stress down with this laughter, well, there's no reason to change, especially when you drop a fucking $10,000 price point on their head top. They're going to hear that and then they're going to go back into the way of thinking of like, should I really pay that money? Like, that's what we need to rip away from. And they do this very often. And as soon as you rip away that way of thinking and the coping, they're going to take the conversation a lot more serious and ultimately have more urgency. Let's watch a call with the laughing prospect. Watch how we cook this. So first of all, we gotta call out the retwist, right? Like you could tell that my shit was just twisted not too long ago. The cut is a little faded, but it's still there. So that in itself is going to increase the show rate or the close rate. Probably the show rate too. Let's keep going.
Can I make an observation without potentially offending you? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So like we're talking about some pretty heavy things here.
So same as always, right? We want to be able to prepare them for the reframe that we're about to give them. And so in the last one, it's like, yo, we're going to have some light bulb moments. Here, can I say something without potentially offending you? Right? Because you don't want their guard to be up, especially when you're about to deliver something challenging. You see what I'm saying? Let's keep going.
Not being present with him, consistently being anxious, losing $70,000. We're talking about heavy things, but I noticed that when you say it, it's at the end of it is like a laugh or a smile.
Yeah, like, oh,
What's behind that? What's behind the laugh and the smile when
So the key with the laughing is you need to remind them of their situation and the exact words that they used, right? So for her, she's not present with her husband. She's constantly anxious. And because of her being so behind on charts, she lost a $70,000 bonus. So we need to bring that shit up, right? And it makes it real and it makes it contextual to her. You see what I'm saying? Let's keep going. And then you got to ask her, well, what's behind that? So that she can tell you that it's a coping mechanism. She needs to be able to call it out, right? That it's a defense mechanism so that you can put a label to it, so that we can rip that way of thinking away and we could be able to challenge her at the end if it were to show itself. Let's see where it goes.
yeah, like, oh,
what's behind that? What's behind the laugh and the smile when we're talking about it?
um, good question. It's almost like
Yeah, I love when they say good question. You're damn right, it's a good question.
complacency or like, you know, uh, there's nothing I can do about it, or you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. You almost, yeah, you get used to it, or you feel like, yeah, there's maybe no way to change it, or
This is exactly what I just labeled, right? This is dangerous right here because this is the type of person to give me all her pain points, to say all the right things. And as soon as it's go time, she doesn't feel the urge to do something. She doesn't feel the urgency to do something. And what did she just say? She said, maybe it's complacency. Maybe it's accepting that it is what it is and nothing is going to change. Guys, someone who believes that nothing is going to change and it is what it is not going to give you 10 bands. You can't let this shit slide. Let's keep going.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I know you talked earlier about just like screw it, right? The screw it mindset and the
Mm-hmm.
complacency. Um, you're in a little bit of a dangerous place, and I'll tell you what I mean by that.
Mm,
We're ultimately in a place where, again, the practice is losing that amount of money.
mm-hmm.
It's showing in the way you
That's what it was. Her practice was losing money. She is a business owner. She was not an employed doctor. This call was like fucking 6 months ago. Bear with me.
show up at home
Mm-hmm.
because of this screw it mindset, because of this complacency. You've ultimately kept yourself there. Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's almost like, yeah, like you said, it's like a dangerous place to be where it's like, well, you could lose it all if you don't um, get your stuff together.
So she's starting to subscribe to the frame, right? That it's a dangerous way of thinking, and she could lose it all if she doesn't get it together. This is good.
Yeah.
So, like, I can tell you have a lot of awareness around that, right? Or
You got to reward her, right? You got to reward her because she just said that, so she can continue to be in alignment with the right. She's going the right direction, right? So we're gonna give her a pat on the back. I always say this. A lot of this shit may come off very manipulative. The difference between manipulation and persuasion is the intention. I am here to help this woman. Let's keep going.
you willing to actually face it and not run away from it and not be complacent around it? Like, are we ready to actually face it and be proactive in overcoming it?
Boom. What did we just do? We took the way of thinking. We ripped it away. She can't continue coping with the laughing as she has. Are you ready? Are you willing to face it? Right. Let's keep going.
I have to.
Oh, she said I have to. That's what you need.
Why do you have to? Because we can just keep saying screw it. We can just keep complacent and acting like it doesn't exist. Why do we have to overcome it?
For the success of the practice, the fact that I've got two great staff members that essentially rely on that, the practice being successful. They have their kids.
Right. It's other people's lives.
They're
So this is I know a lot of y'all started business owners, right? She has two employees whose their livelihood depends on the success of the practice. So there are two families, including her, so three families that are depending on her to step it the fuck up. There is a lot at stake here. And so it only took me 2 minutes to get there. And now I have so much leverage if she were to try to use that bullshit at the end of the call. Do you see what we're doing here? Right? This is ripping ways of thinking away from people that are not serving them. And so if they try to come back to it, we have everything that we need to ultimately help them get out of their own way. Okay, let's keep going because we're cooking up right now, right? So now the third and final behavior pattern that we're going to talk about is rationalizing. This one is deadly because of how subtle it can be. They'll tell you about how much of a problem they have, but then they'll minimize it and they'll downplay it. That's the thing that you want to listen for here, is minimizing and downplaying language. But right? If they say but after giving you a pain point, they are rationalizing. If they feel the need to continue telling you how things have gotten better when we're here to talk about how things could be better than they are now, they're rationalizing. And of course, if they don't believe it's not that bad, good luck getting a $10,000 commitment from them, unless you just have a dogfight, and we don't want to have dogfights. And the behavior pattern here is similar to the laughing, right? They are trying to convince themselves that things are okay, that things are better than they appear to be. The difference between this and the laughing is this one is more verbal, right? They're not saying that when they're laughing. Here, they're directly telling you. Right? Remember what I told you in the beginning of the call, you can't hide behavior patterns. It's subconscious, so they're gonna do these things without even really realizing they're doing it. Now that you're watching this video though, you are gonna be armed with the ability to listen for this type of shit, to look for this type of shit, right? It's like a fat motherfucker. I always talk about fat people, right? It's like a fat motherfucker who's 300 pounds saying that, well, it could be 350. Well, my weight hasn't gone up in the last year. Okay, fatty, you've been telling yourself that since you were 200 pounds. Or a man who works 80 plus hours a week, who misses his kids' games, who's not able to be present with his wife, who's not able to do the things for himself, not able to work out. But then he rationalizes and says, well, my family lives a good life. Well, my kids are in private school. Well, we're able to provide this nice house. We're able to take these nice trips. This is a mental trap that they are stuck in. And it is your duty as the salesperson to help them out of their own way and to rip that decision-making process from them. Otherwise, you drop a 10K price point on their head top, they're going to rationalize their way out of that too. Well, is my situation really that bad? I could probably go another couple weeks, another couple months without doing anything. Why do I have to do it now? That's the type of shit they're going to say, even though they told you all that pain earlier on in the call. It's because you missed this, but you're not going to miss it again. So now we're going to hear this one on a live call. Now, before we do that, you're listening and you made it this far, and what we're talking about sounds like a lot of your prospects, and you want to implement it correctly rather than trying to piece together a bunch of YouTube videos, like the reps who never make it to 20, 30 grand a month in commission, who you're obviously smarter than because you're watching this video. Hit the link below, apply for one-on-one coaching. Let's dive in.
So like I said, our brains are a funny place and they like to play games on us and play tricks on us, right? We're talking about some pretty heavy things here.
So I'm separating, this is key, right? Is you want to separate the fear or the way of thinking from the person, right? Because this is them and this is the way of thinking that's not serving them, that we're trying to get them away from. And so if that way of thinking were to show itself, we can help them make a decision through the lens of the person that they want to be. Let's keep going.
We're talking about how sad you feel in your career, the fact it's not fun, or the fact you're constantly thinking about work. But I know.
And remember what I said earlier about using exact context around what they said, right? You told me pain point, and pain point, but I realized when you talk about that, you rationalize what's behind that.
Notice that when you talk about it, at the end, you rationalize and you say, well, it's not that bad. What's behind you like consistently rationalizing your situation?
So she's blurred, you can't see her body language, but as I'm saying this, she's like scratching her face, she's scratching her neck, she's like looking around because she knows she's been doing this to avoid feeling what she needs to feel. Not today, not anymore.
And telling yourself that what's behind that.
I guess I've always done that. I cannot like to keep going because if I say it's really hard to sleep up, I just wouldn't do anything. Maybe some of that.
Is it to?
So she just said that she's always done that, right? If she keeps saying it's too hard, then she's gonna stop. Now, if she's always done that, and then I ask her for 10 grand at the end of the call, what do you think she's gonna do? Exactly that.
Protect yourself?
Sorry.
Defense mechanism?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dangerous. And what I mean by that is if you continue like rationalizing what your situation actually is, it doesn't give you any urgency to change it unless you feel what you need to feel.
Well, yeah.
It's like an overweight person saying, well, I'm 250, but I mean, I could be 300. I could be.
Yeah. Which is
Dangerous. Of course, I use the fat example, right? I actually don't have anything against fat people, to be fair, but it makes shit easier. It makes it land harder, right? That's a dangerous place to be because she's continuously telling herself that things are not as bad as they actually are.
how I felt before that. I felt like it was really bad, which made me start looking for help and trying to change things. Because before I would just be like, I'm fine, I can do it, and just keep going.
And there's still a little bit in that in you. I can
Yes,
Okay, a little
probably
bit of that.
some of that, yeah.
right?
She said, this is key. Like, I don't want y'all to miss anything. Every fucking word matters. She said that before she did that, she continued telling herself that it's okay and continued pushing through until eventually she was like, okay, something needs to change. But she's still doing that. She's still telling herself that everything is okay. So again, she hears the price point. She's going to tell herself that unless we fucking rug pull that way of thinking away from her.
Yes,
Okay, a little
probably
bit of that.
some of that, yeah.
Right. So maybe the right question then is like, are you ready to stop rationalizing and really look at the reality for what it is so that you can be empowered to change it rather than continuing to tell yourself that it could be worse?
Whoo, that is some sauce. We're cooking up, right? Are you willing to stop rationalizing? Because we just labeled the rationalizing, which is defense mechanism. Are you ready to stop doing that so you can look at reality for what it is and you can actually be empowered to change it? In other words, stop making decisions like that.
Maybe. I think there is a part of me that is scared because if I just look at how things are, I'm just going to be really depressed and feel like, okay, I don't want to do this. Or I would feel like I don't know how to pull myself out of that situation.
So don't worry too much, and I appreciate the honesty there.
So that's not a real commitment. She said maybe.
Don't worry too much about how to pull yourself out of it because that's what help is for. But if we can't look in the mirror and say that the situation is not what I want it to be and I'm not showing up the way I want, or the fitness example, if we can't look in the mirror and say I am 100 pounds overweight of where I need to be, then there's no reason to change it.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess again, are you willing to look at the reality for what it actually is and not continue protecting yourself by rationalizing?
I would say yes because that's why I'm here.
I would say yes because that's why I'm here. Still not enough. She's still rationalizing. That's not a commitment. Let's keep going.
Being here is a good first step.
Right.
Being here, I'll give you an analogy. Being here is almost like, let's say you're hungry, and then you go to the kitchen, and then you open up the fridge doors, you see what's inside, and then you close those doors, and then you go back and you don't make yourself any food.
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes we confuse motion with action. And so being here is motion. It means you're walking, but you haven't actually taken action, right? And the thing, if I could just be honest, the thing that's going to prevent you from taking action is not looking at your situation for what it actually is.
So this is really good. Like when people say that's why I'm here, it means that they think that, fat example, that going and getting a gym membership is them losing weight before they actually pick up the weights, right? They get this sense of accomplishment from talking about their problem versus actually doing it. So if someone tells you on your calls, that's why I'm here, it's a big red flag and you need to stop it in its tracks, exactly like I did there, right?
Okay.
Do you see why I would say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you feel like in your mind, why do you feel like if you keep rationalizing, if you keep telling yourself that it's okay, that nothing will change? Why do you think that is?
She needs to own it. That's why, again, if it comes from me, the fucking sales guy, it means nothing. If it comes from her, it means everything. So me asking her, do you see why I would say that? And she says yes. Now I need her to explain why, because then that's her, again, taking away the way of thinking. That's not serving her.
Because I've been doing it for such a long time, and things have not changed. So yeah, there is a pattern of behavior there.
There's a pattern of behavior there. What's this whole video about? What is this whole fucking video about? Behavior patterns. She just called out that there's a behavior pattern that is not serving her, that she needs to let go of, right?
So why now for you to break that pattern and not continue telling yourself that story? Why now?
Because
See, I know I'm pausing a lot here, but a lot of you ask the why now question at the wrong time, right? They say they need to change, and then you say, why now? Why now needs to be attached to the belief that they are breaking. Why now to stop making decisions that way? Not why now to fucking start a YouTube automation channel or do Amazon FBA or like not why now for that. Why now to get out of your own way? This is a really important distinction. One creates urgency. One is just mental masturbation for the prospect.
I guess well, first of all, I think it has to do with the fact that this is my first job. So one thing is being in training and just you keep telling yourself, once I'm done with residency or whatever, it's gonna get better, but in reality it didn't get better, it just got worse. And then you're like, okay, this was the part that I was supposed to be enjoying myself, and yet it's actually much worse than residency. Something has to change.
Yeah. Yeah, because, and again, you're being honest with yourself. Like, I really respect that.
Reward her.
Because I know you said that it's scary or you're scared. But like in your mind, what do you think scares you more, or what do you think leads to you being depressed more? Is it seeing your situation for what it actually is and then changing it? Or does it scare you more to tell yourself your situation isn't as bad as it is and then continue living through it?
Like, not making any changes is probably more scary because that means that I'm just gonna be trapped in the situation and I don't want that.
Are you willing to settle for that?
Yep.
No, no, no. I said, are you willing to settle for that?
I'll settle for that. No, I thought I'd be ready to move on from that. Yes, I don't want to settle for that.
Yeah. And like I keep talking about our brain and how funny it is. Like part of you knows this
So now she just told me that it's not serving her, that she's not willing to settle for that it's riskier to keep doing the same thing. Now I need to ask for permission to keep her accountable.
isn't serving her and knows it's not good for her. But there's also the side of you that has been doing it for so long, like you said, that may not be very happy, but is comfortable.
True.
Right? And the comfort is what's going to keep you where you are. And so if that way of thinking or if that rationalizing were to show itself again, would we as your coaches have your permission to keeping you accountable and empowering you to overcome that?
Mm-hmm.
Are
Yeah.
you sure? I'm not always this nice. Are you sure?
I am sure. Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Good.
I'm not always this nice. I'm not always this nice, right? Now we have effectively, like I've said a million times in this video, we've ripped away that way of thinking. She's owned that it's not serving her. Could she give objections? Potentially. But am I in a much better place to handle it than if I would have just moved past the laughing and the rationalizing? Much better, right? Because now it creates inner turmoil, creates inner conflict of, I know that I want to do this. I want to fucking do the comfortable thing. But we identified in this conversation that the comfortable thing is what's keeping me stuck, is what's keeping me from having time with my family, etc. Right? Or the last lady, it's what's keeping me from being, that's the reason I'm losing $70,000 a year in my business. So if you made it this far, you know the 3 most common behavior patterns that keep your prospects stuck and that ultimately fuck your sales. You also saw how to handle each of them without triggering resistance with the prospects. Pick one of them and go implement it on your next call. You don't have to do all this shit. If you could just pick one of them, you're going to get an additional 1, 2, 3 sales a week, because I guarantee that your prospects do this on your calls. So if you're on an offer, you want to potentially get coached by me, hit the link below, see if you qualify. If not, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Appreciate y'all. Peace.